All right, folks, this is Harris Sultan, and there is a news story circulating on social media. Tommy Robinson has just tweeted about that as well, where Westminster Abbey hoisted the flag of Pakistan. Tommy Robinson said that Pakistan is a terrorist country, and why do we have to show Pakistan's flag? So I actually thought about it from both sides, and I could not really come up with even a half decent opinion. So I'm not really sure how I should react to that because, hear me out. I can understand why the Patriots are angry because when you get punished for waving the Union Jack flag, the police comes after you, people come after you, the media actually shames you as though waving the British flag is somehow racist and the natives need to be mindful of other cultures. Now, that doesn't make any sense. So I can understand why they're angry, and so they should be. But Pakistan was a former colony. Obviously, it was United India, if you ignore the semantics. Pakistan is a former colony of Britain. Britain gave independence to Pakistan in 1947. So if 75 years later, Britain says, okay, you know what? You drafted this resolution of independence back on the 23rd of March, 1940, and you demanded a separate country for yourself. You asked us British people to give you independence, and we did give you independence 7 years later. Pakistan, India, and some other former colonies, they have a special relation with Great Britain. So from that angle, I think it's just an acknowledgement. A lot of right-wingers say that, oh, why are you destroying statues because they're a part of our history? Yes, that's a fair point. But now, why are you angry about this? That's one end of it. But the other end, as I said, that the Patriots are angry because they get ostracized, they get shamed for waving the Union Jack. So other than that, I actually don't have anything to say. I can't tell you if this is a good thing or a bad thing. If it's just a mere acknowledgement of a historical event, then it's not really so bad. And if the Patriots are angry because they are attacked for waving the Union Jack, then it's more of an internal problem. And I think the government should be criticized for not allowing people to wave the Union Jack. But anyway, that's all I have to say. I want to hear some interesting takes on this. This guy, Patrick Christys, is a very interesting character from GB News. I think he makes really good points. So I'm just going to see what he has to say. So let's have a listen to what Patrick Christys has to say.
The Pakistani flag with the Islamic crescent and star was hoisted above Westminster Abbey during Lent. Now, before the usual type starts shouting at me, yes, I am aware that they do this to mark Pakistan Day, and they do it for other countries as well.
Oh, so they do it for other countries. So, okay, let's see. So far, there's nothing wrong.
I do find it a...
Oh, by the way, before I go further, I forgot to tell you this. There are other countries that do that as well. For example, the UAE, the world's tallest building, the Burj Khalifa. They project flags of Great Britain. I think they recently just projected the flag of Russia, which although a lot of British people might not want to see that. But it's not just that. It's not just Britain that is sending out these positive, good signals, okay? So I just thought that it would be important for you to know that it's not just Great Britain. Muslim countries like the UAE also send these overtures, which I think is a good thing. Anyway, let's have a listen.
Little bit laughable, okay? Special prayers were offered to the continued friendship between our nations. The highlight of the occasion, apparently, was that they kept the flag flying all day. Christians are persecuted in Pakistan. Occupations that are deemed low, dirty and degrading, such as working as a sewer cleaner, are reserved for Christians by the authorities.
He's absolutely right. And those occupations like sewer cleaners, etc., when they put out those adverts on local newspapers, they actually say Muslims need not apply. So only non-Muslims can apply. And in Punjab, most non-Muslims are Christians. In Sindh, most non-Muslims are Hindus. So in Sindh, the sewer jobs are reserved for Hindus. And in Punjab, sewer jobs are reserved for Christians. So it's an absolute truth. And what makes it worse is that the government is involved in that. I'm not sure if it has changed in recent times, but when I was growing up, that was definitely the case. Yes, we know ordinary people can hold those prejudices towards Christians and non-Muslims, but Pakistan as a government should have better standards, and it should be reprimanded for holding those standards. So, good point, Christy.
Many are referred to as chura, a derogatory term meaning filthy. In August last year, 20 churches and almost 100 homes were attacked. Now, I could be wrong about this, but I don't think there are too many mosques flying the St. George's flag. This is, of course, an isolated incident, but I am old enough to remember back in 2012 when some British Muslims burned the St. George's flag and told the Queen to go to hell because we were knighting Salman Rushdie. Now, I think we might need a few more of Archbishop Welby's special prayers, don't you? Anyone who had a problem with the Pakistani flag over our most prominent church was laughed at and called, and apologies if you find this term offensive, a flag shagger. It makes me laugh, this, because the people throwing that slur around tend to have a load of flags in their Twitter bios. The Palestine flag, the Ukrainian flag, the gay pride flag, the EU flag, sometimes all of them. In fact, in Britain...
I'll give you another one. You think that flag shagger is just a metaphorical term? Are you ready for this? The Prophet Muhammad said, on the day of judgment, there will be a flag fixed behind the buttocks of every person guilty of the breach of faith. So all those people who did not follow Islam to the letter will literally become flag shaggers, or actually get shagged by flags. Oh my God, there's a hadith for everything. Sorry, I got distracted. All right, let's get back to Patrick. So far, he's made perfect points. That's true. If I want to be overly critical, yes, it did happen in August last year when 20 plus churches were burned down by angry mobs of Muslims. But the government did punish all of those people, or as many as it could. And then the government rebuilt those churches out of their own pocket. They do call them chura, which is a derogatory term, which I think literally it means filthy. They do hold these positions. He's so far so good.
It seems like the only flag you're not allowed to like is your own.
I did make that point. Let's see what he has to say.
The local council has hoisted the Palestinian flag above their building. We've got a hospital in Bromley that unveiled a bridge wrapped in a giant three-sided intersex inclusive flag showing the LGBT plus rainbow. In Glasgow, the council debated a motion from the Greens that wanted to remove the Union flag and replace it with, get this, a rolling roster of the Palestinian flag, the Cuban flag, the French flag for Bastille Day, the German flag, the Pakistani flag, the Ukrainian flag, and of course, not to be forgotten, the Scottish flag as well.
Oh.
Now, forgive me, okay? But they're making love to a lot of other flags there, aren't they? Now, compare this to the Royal Mail banning the St. George's flag being flown on their vehicles. I mean, they are called the Royal Mail, for goodness sake. Then there's the left-leaning Independent running headlines like this. Is flying a St. George's flag an act of patriotism or a symbol of all that is bad about England?
Ooh.
One Labour council banned the St. George's flag because it was offensive to their 16 Muslim constituents. P&O Cruises reportedly stopped people flying the Union flag as their ships sailed back to Britain because apparently it was deemed offensive. Emily Thornberry's infamous tweet during the old Rochester election campaign appeared to mock the St. George's flag and indeed white van men, before our very own Stephen Dixon handed her rear end to her live on GB News.
Like he done? I mean, seriously, I can hardly recognise it as the England flag, can you? I mean, England flag is a simple white background and a red cross. Seems to me, why can't they just leave it alone?
To be fair, you're not a particular fan of the St. George's Cross, are you?
What do you mean?
Well, you took the mickey out of someone flying the England flag and had to resign as a result of it.
Yeah.
There is a sense in Britain that we have to bow down to every other culture, religion and flag other than our own. Now, I'm just going to ask a question, okay? Are this lot not the real ones obsessed with flags? Or this lot? I think they are.
I didn't get the last point. I don't know what he meant by that. So I think my initial understanding hasn't moved much. I think hoisting a Pakistani flag and the flags of your previous colonies, acknowledging their existence, acknowledging their national days is a good thing. It's a good signal. But then at the same time, Britain should not be chastising its own people for waving the St. George's flag. And yes, I think England is going through that phase, and pretty much every Western country, where they're bending over backwards for other cultures, but at the same time, they're crapping on their own culture, which is more of a local problem. As far as Pakistan is concerned, I think Pakistan is a third world country. You're not going to match Pakistan for its bad behaviors. You're going to show Pakistan that, look, how good we are. We acknowledge you, but look what you do to Christians. Look what you do to your minorities. And I think the Pakistani government does recognize that. I'm actually going to make an Urdu version of this for my Pakistani audience, and I'm going to show them, hey, these are the people you call them Islamophobic. Look, they're waving your flag. They're acknowledging your national day. So you can influence these people from the position of strength and good character and good morals. But at the same time, I think my only criticism of this whole episode is the fact that Britain goes hard against its own natives for waving their own flag. An ordinary white person, he can't connect with the Pakistani flag, or he can't connect with any other former colonies flag. He's going to connect with the St. George's flag, right? So they should not be punished for waving the St. George's flag. Anyway, that's it from me. I hope you liked today's video. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like me to continue making awesome videos like these, then you can be my patron by going to patreon.com/Harris Sultan, or you can simply buy me a coffee. Until next time, ta-da. If you'd like to support my work, you can become my patron by going to patreon.com/Harus Sultan, or you can simply buy me a coffee.